Okay, Cade is a really good operator, but he is banned way too often. That's why today I'm going to talk about Cade, show you how to play Cade and how to counter Cade so that you can stop banning him in your ranked games, free up that space for other operators, and absolutely just dominate your competition. Whether they're playing Cade or you're playing Cade, we're going to learn everything Cade today. Fuck, I just realized it's Kaid. Okay, I know you guys all call him Kaid. I'm probably getting flamed in the comments, but I'm going to call him Cade because I've been calling him Cade since he came out. And that's suck it up. Suck it up. Okay, I'll call him Kaid. Fine, I'll call him Kaid for you. Most people who are trying to counter Kaid are countering him wrong. You're either playing IQ, you're playing Cali, you're trying to nade the claws off the wall, whatever it is. Today I'm going to explain why those counters are wrong, the best ways to counter them, and the best way to play them to avoid the counters of the counter. Or I guess the best way to counter the counter. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. So let's get into it. So in my opinion, the absolute worst counter to Kaid is Cali. Cali in general is just a garbage operator, and there's ways to avoid Cali's lance that to the point where it doesn't even work. It doesn't even get the K claws. Don't pick Cali to counter Kaid. First of all, her gun sucks. So as soon as you do this, not only does her gun sucks, but her ability is completely useless also. So you're basically playing a 4v5. Cali's gun, garbage. Yes, she has a good secondary, but it's much more effective to just pick a better operator with a better weapon and a better utility rather than playing Cali. And here's why. Wow, it did nothing. Okay, so this is the most obvious way to counter the Cali. You simply put the Kaid claws away from the wall on spots where they're too far away for the Cali lance to actually get it. Now, yes, this does use 2 claws, but it can keep very important walls, such as the CCTV wall and clubhouse closed. Even in that case, you can actually trick the Cali lances as well. So if you're just playing near your Cade claw and say you only have one, as soon as you hear that Cali lance go down, you just pick up the claw and you can redeploy it. Because the Cali lance will also break thermite charges, ace charges, Hibanas, the attackers still have to wait for the lance to go off before they can place that hard breach utility, and you'll have time to get that Cade claw down and actually break the utility. So you can trick very easily against the Cali lance as well. As you can see here, I still have my claw. I picked it up. Easy clap. So another very common counter people try to use against Kaid is IQ, which literally makes no sense. I see comments all the time being like, oh, IQ is the counter to Kaid. And I'm like, dude, no, like that just is not the answer. If there's a Kaid on the wall, it is in one of 2 places. Near the middle of the wall, so it gets both panels. So it's somewhere in this square vicinity of the wall, right, to get both panels, or there is 2 claws on either side of the wall to get each panel, right? So you know for a fact the Kaid claw is somewhere near the wall, and most likely it's going to be option A, which is in the middle, because using 2 claws on the wall is just less efficient, and most of the time people are just using one anyway. So you know the Cade claw is probably somewhere in the middle wall, meaning if you just nade anywhere in this area, or if you impact the floor here from underneath with Ash or Zofia, or you nade the floor to open it, you can shoot the claw off regardless. As IQ, you have to go underneath to actually find that Cade and wallbang it through the floor anyway. So if you just literally go anyone else and open the floor, you can see the claw and shoot it because you know it's in the middle of the wall somewhere, right? And if it's not, then that's the case where you know it's on the edge of the wall at that point. So IQ, again, not really doing anything for you. So if you're picking the Ash or Zofia, at least you have that extra utility. Let's say if they actually don't bring a Kaid, or you impact the floor once, you still have another impact to use along with the stuns with Zofia, or you Ash the floor once, you still have another Ash charge to use. So it just brings extra utility to the team by not picking IQ, because if you're picking IQ in, let's say, Valk's band, and you're only picking IQ for the Kaid or Vigil or whatever, like, really you're not getting that much done when you could be picking someone with more utility for your team. So if IQ and Cali are the quote-unquote bad counters for Kaid, or the wrong counters for Kaid, then who are the best counters for Kaid? Well, there is one obvious answer, and that's Thatcher if he's not banned. You can just Thatcher the wall twice. Kaid tricking's impossible, and that's literally the most simple way to open the wall is with Thatcher. Thatcher is banned a lot, however, and I do understand that, so your next best bet is going to be Maverick. So I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, oh yeah, Mav can counter Kaid. That's super easy. You just Mav a hole and nade through the hole and it gets the claw off, right? Wrong. You're wrong. That is you know, it does work. It is an option to do it, but what is a more strategically sound option is saving that grenade to use later on. The grenades in this game are just so strong. So why would you waste the grenade on a claw when you can mav the wall soft and use a buck, a sledge, a Zofia, an ash, which you most likely have anyway to open that soft wall. Now, if you don't have one of those, yes, nading the claw off the wall is your best bet, and then get like another hard breacher to open the wall. But say you have neither, then what? Well, maybe you just have to mav like a square in the wall, or not go for the wall at that point because you just really can't open it unless you're super good with nades and you can like nade off. Anyway, that's why you'll want to be mapping the wall soft to save that nade for some utility later on to nade people out of those power positions when you actually are going for that execute. Nades are so strong in this game, you'll want to keep those up. If you want to win more, save your nades, map the wall soft. And mapping the wall soft is super easy once you know how to do it. I do have a full mav guide if you want to look at the best way to maverick every wall in the game, or the most common walls in the game that you come up to. Go look at my Maverick guide on YouTube. It's super handy if you want to become a really good Maverick player. So mapping the wall soft is really not as hard as you think. You just need to draw a line across the top. Make sure you get the edge of the reinforcement. It doesn't take a lot of time, and this makes Cade practically useless. Because at this point, they're picking an operator to keep a wall shut that is really only staying shut for a small period of time. So if you mav the wall soft, if you do it safely, if you watch my Mav guide, then you'll be absolutely fine. There you go. Boom. The wall is soft. You have somebody open it, whether it's Zofia, Sledge, Buck, whoever. And then, boom. You have completely disregarded the fact that they had a Cade. You didn't waste any utility. I just wasted a nade there, of course, because I'm alone in a custom game. But that is basically making the enemy's Kaid pick useless by doing that, right? Yeah, sure, they've Kaid the wall, but you've opened it up in a matter of 10, 20 seconds, and now they're picking an op who is really just doing nothing for them. So Mav tricking, 100% the best way to counter Kaid. Plus, Mav's gun is nasty, and he has grenades, so these are just, like, Mav is just a much better option than, say, picking a Kali and a Thermite, right? Because with Kali and Thermite, the freaking sniper rifle, so useless. I just hate Kali, okay? Just stop picking Kali. If you want to actually improve, get better, be more strategically, fuck it, whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay, so now you understand that it's just better to Maverick the wall soft, open it up that way, disregard the fact they even have a Cade almost at that point. Now let's talk about hatches, because hatches are a little tougher. Yes, you can still Maverick hatches, but it does take a little longer. It is a little less safe, but there are some hatches you can even avoid that are electrified. So if it's reinforced floor like this, you will need Mav to get the hatch open, because obviously you can't ace or thermite a hatch like this. So to Mav it open, you just get along the edge, try to get as much of the reinforcement as you can. It is easier just to do the very edge of the hatch like this, because there's a little ledge that will protect you from anybody underneath it. So all you need to do is 1 million damage total to the hatch. You can go wherever you want on it, and I ran out of breaching torch because I did the reinforcement beforehand. But you can get the hatches with Mav pretty quick, pretty efficient, only takes about 20 seconds, and that's just another example of avoiding those Cade claws. Okay, so if the hatch is on not a soft floor, so like a hard floor that you can't open the side of or anything, obviously you'll need the Maverick for it. It just showed you how to do that. But if it's a soft hatch, or the floor surrounding the hatch is soft like this one, so this is where your map knowledge is going to come in handy, whether you need the ace or the map for. You can actually avoid the Cades by just acing next to the hatch. You can also thermite next to the hatch, and it will also work, but this will open the hatch while completely disregarding the Cade. As you can see, this doesn't work on a floor like this, like the hard floor, because the aces won't actually deploy. So yes, this is a trick that only really works on the soft floor. For the hard floors, you don't have to worry about being nitroed. So that's why it's like Mav the hard floors, because you don't have to worry about the nitros, and ace the soft floors so that you don't have to worry about the nitros, but you're also disregarding the Cade. You can thermite the soft floors like the one in the lobby hatch that we just did, but you do have to be careful, because if they hear you thermiting, they can nitro the floor as you're placing the thermite charge. The same goes for if you're trying to Maverick a hatch like this. If you're trying to Maverick the hatch, they can nitro you off of the sound of the blowtorch. So really, don't try to Maverick a hatch that's Caded if it's next to a soft floor, and if you want to risk it with a thermite, it is a little safer, but the Maverick, you are 99% of the time just going to get nitroed off the hatch. Okay, now let's talk about some of the decent counters for Kaid. These are counters that typically you wouldn't rely on, but they can be somewhat useful. So the first of which is Twitch. Now, you definitely don't want to rely on your Twitch player to get the Kaid claws, because if they lose both drones, you won't be able to get the claws, and it's going to be a lot tougher to win the round from an attack perspective. Now, of course, Twitch drones are great. They, of course, can get Kaid claws, obviously. But again, if you lose both of them, you're not going to be able to get that claw. So you don't want to be relying on that Twitch to get the Kaid claw, which is why we have other options. So sometimes it does come down to it, and you do need to nade those claws off of the wall. Now, you don't need Maverick for this. You don't have to mav a hole in the wall just to nade it off. You can pick other operators with other utility. If you're planning on nading the claw off the wall anyway, you can just pick somebody else that isn't Maverick and nade it from another area. For example, on this kids wall on Oregon, you can come up to the roof and actually nade the claw off just from this window. You can cook the nade, throw it in, and that will destroy the claw. Sometimes you can even get kills with this if there's a person playing near the wall, but that's just one example of a great way to clear the claw with a nade without having to pick the mav just to mav a hole in the wall anyway. So nading from windows, such as this one, or like the clubhouse CCTV window, is a great option for doing that. So by understanding these techniques, you can now effectively clear the Kaid claws. You can clear those electro claws from wherever they are just by understanding how to do it. So by not banning the Kaid, you can then not only use these Kaid techniques to your advantage, but you also know how to counter them while bringing the maximum amount of utility that your team needs. So that way you can have basically just extra stuff to improve your chances of winning the round. So by having the extra Yana clones, or the extra Ash Chargers, the extra Zofia stuns, having this extra utility is all factors that increase your chances of winning your attack rounds. So by doing it and not having the Cali or not having the IQ, you have the extra grenades, whatever it is, to get more kills, increase your chances, and just win more attacks, win more games, and in turn rank up. Some other really good options for bans right now too are Mira and Valkyrie, or even if you have a 5-stack, just target banning very popular defenders in your rank. So whether that's Thunderbird or Oryx or Capcan, I don't know. Depending on your rank, whoever the most played operator is, if you have that 5-stack that you consistently play with, you can ban that operator, and then you can get used to playing with the Kaid up, or the Mira or the Valk, depending on what the other team are banning. And then you can target ban that individual defender, practice without playing them, and then you'll have the advantage right off the start going into that match because you're used to playing without that specific defender. So this is something you can basically do on any site, any wall, by using 2 Kaid claws, spacing them out. If it's an important wall, you can make them invincible by just putting them away from the wall. So Kali's just going to be useless if you do that. So by spreading your Kaid claws out on any wall, Kali's just not going to be able to get them. It doesn't matter. They just have to be a little bit away from the wall, and Kali's practically useless. But let me show you some other spots where you can put your claws to make them even more difficult for Kali to get while saving you claws at the same time. So, for example, this one in dining is one that, yes, an IQ would probably find this one, but as long as you know of the spot, you can go shoot this as an attacker. Now, if they don't know it, this is going to be a claw that can literally just win you the round, because it'll get both walls by hiding in this desk, and Kali still can't get it. So you can either do something like this, where you throw the Kaid claw outside later in the round. You know they're pushing back, maybe you open the front door and throw the claw out there, and what that's going to do is literally go through the floor and get the wall for you. Now, I did miss it a little bit, but you can have a teammate like ping the wall so you can get it perfect on your ping, and then you can throw it on the ping, and that will get both the walls. But this is something you can do on a plethora of sites. But that being said, that is something you do need to look for when you're on the attack. So that's pretty much it, guys. That is everything you need to know about Kaid, so you can stop banning him, play him more, counter him properly, win more rank games, and actually rank up.